Hey guys, it's Manuel from importdojo.com. Today I wanted to show you guys some Alibaba hacks, how to sort, how to filter and find suppliers in the most efficient way. Now let's get started and go on to Alibaba. Most of you know Alibaba. Alibaba is the world's largest directory for suppliers. Basically, anything that you'd be looking for, you can find on alibaba.com. Now let's take a look at the site in depth with an example. Let's say today you want to source for an action camera similar to the GoPro cameras. You can start simply by going to the main page that we have here and input action camera in the search options. Now let's try this here. Action camera. Okay, so you found 109,421 products. Now that is quite a lot. At this point, you actually will want to filter your results to get the most relevant suppliers. The filters you will find here, we have trade assurance here, gold supplier, on-site check, and assessed suppliers. Now I will explain each one in a little bit. What else do we have? We have the location filters here, so you can filter by region. Obviously, we want to buy from mainland China, so we will filter that later. I also go through in detail. Then you can also filter here if you prefer any screen size that your sports camera should have. Then you can obviously filter by colors that you prefer. If you're only looking, for example, black, then you can filter black here. But be reminded that not all suppliers may mention their colors here. So maybe they don't mention black, but they actually have a black version. So I recommend you to leave that filter open. Now then, you can filter by, for example, the definition, the high def definition, as well as the pixelation. But then again, it's the same as the colors. Some suppliers may not mention that they have different versions, so just keep that filter open as well. This goes as well for all the optical zooms and the media type. Now let's take a look at the filters in detail. We have gold supplier here, which are pre-qualified suppliers from Alibaba. This is a paid membership from Alibaba for the supplier, and they get featured here on the top of the page, and they can put up a lot more items in their catalog than regular suppliers who do not pay the gold membership. Now then we have on-site check. On-site check means that the operation, the factory, has been checked by Alibaba or by a third party such as TV, SGS, or Bureau Veritas. And then we have assessed suppliers, which is really the confirmation that a third party inspection company has assessed the suppliers. So someone's been there and they verified if this company actually has machinery, staff, engineers, workers, and so on. Now let's filter these three. So we click those three filters, and down from 106,000, we only have 6,954 products right now. So what you want to do next is you want to filter by the manufacturing province. You may be asking why, because each province in China is specific for different product categories. Now, if you find a supplier in a different now let's take a look at this first. Obviously, we want to have by China and mainland China, and then you can further filter by, this takes a second. Oh, you can open here, and then you can filter by province. Now you see we have a couple provinces of China here, and in each province you only have, in some provinces you only have a few suppliers, and in Guangdong, where the majority of the suppliers are, you will have the most suppliers. So why is this? Now if you look at Zhejiang province, for example, you will see that there's only 22 suppliers. Now I would totally filter them out, because I know for sure if the majority here is in Guangdong, that means that these companies are trading companies buying from the south of China, from Guangdong, where most of the consumer electronics are manufactured. Now, if you have a product and you don't know where the main manufacturing area is, this is a good tool to tell you where the main manufacturing area is. You can just tell by the percentage of how many suppliers you have in Guangdong. Now let's take a look. We will only choose Guangdong area. And we filtered down to 6,858 products. You're looking to buy small quantities. Let's say you want to buy 10 pieces or even 100. You can also filter the MOQ now. You can just input here, let's say 10 pieces, and we should get further filter down to 5,200 products. Again, you could leave this open because some suppliers, they don't put in the minimum order quantity, or they request, for example, a high order quantity, but in some cases they're willing to do a lower MOQ. Now, but in this case, we leave it open for 10 pieces. And let's take a look at the specific suppliers. When you scroll down and you can actually hover here over the gold supplier symbol, and you will see some quick facts. So basically, you're looking for a factory that has experience in your market. This specific supplier has experience in North America, Western Europe and Africa. So this is probably a supplier who works a lot with German or even Scandinavian countries. What else can you see here? You can see the total revenue, which is quite reasonable. They also have a trade assurance of 25,000 US dollar. That means that your initial deposit to the supplier is protected by Alibaba. And say you have an inspection of your production, satisfied with the inspection, you can either tell the supplier to rework, or you can simply ask Alibaba to refund your deposit. Now let's say you deposited 3,000 US dollar, Alibaba will refund the deposit to you. There are a few policies in there. I recommend you check that out later. Now you will want to have a supplier who has experience in the market that you're selling to, because he's probably aware on specific country requirements and regulations. This helps you because he may already have applied for a certificate for the product that you need. And certificate is often needed, especially when you import, and customs may actually ask you for that. Let's take a look at the different suppliers. We're looking for the sports camera. Let's take a look at this one here. So the prices seem quite reasonable. I know that prices are possible around 35, maybe 39 US dollar. Let's take a look at the product page. I'm going to click on this one now. So this supplier has a 5-year gold membership, which is a good sign. If he had scammed someone before on Alibaba, Alibaba would have definitely deleted his account and not renewed it for 5 years. So if you have something lower than 3 or 5 years, I would be a little bit more careful, but in general, 5 years is a good sign. Now, as I said, the price is within a reasonable range. They can meet our desired MOQ. We will have to check that also in an email to the supplier. Payment terms are acceptable. At this moment, if I would have to order one piece, I would probably go for PayPal, because it doesn't make sense if I would do a TT, or in this case means also wire transfer, which would involve a lot of banking fees. So I would go for PayPal in this case. The company is rather young. You can see it here. They've been established in 2011, but that doesn't mean anything, because these cameras really got popular around 2012. So a company that has been in this field already 1 year before they got popular is actually a good sign. Now when you scroll down there, you have several good indicators. For example, we see they have a lot of good product photos. You will want to have a supplier that can send you high resolution photos for your packaging or your private label. Or if you put it on Amazon, you will also want to have clear and high definition or clear and high resolution pictures, so that your consumers can actually see what they're buying, because they won't see the packaging, so you really need good photos. Now you will also see what certificates he has. Now in our case, we would want to import into the United States, so any electrical product basically needs FCC approval. Let's take a look at the first two. ROSE here is a certification that is necessary for most European countries and also some of the North American countries require RoHS. RoHS stands for Restriction of Hazardous Substances, which may include chemicals such as lead or chromium. Then we have CE. CE is a certification for Europe to meet the general standards. It's a good sign that the supplier has it. Now, FCC, as I said, is required when you import electronic products into the US. It's an electrical standard quite similar to CE in Europe, and I get a good feeling about this supplier already. But I would further have to check with him in person or by email. Now you could compare these kind of specifications also with the GoPro website to see what is the real difference in the GoPro cameras and this supplier. Now I'm going to take a look at the contact details. I click here. Let's take a look at the company profile. What will I find here? Oh, let's take a look at the contacts first. So he has a website. I'm going to take a look at the website outside Alibaba as well. If you don't find a website here, you can simply just copy the supplier's name and Google it and see if you can find an outside website. Let's take a look at the website. Now, when you look at the website, pay attention on what products the manufacturer makes. Now, if the seller advertises cameras on Alibaba, for example, and on his website he has a lot of different products, for example, as pillows or kitchenware or anything else that does really not relate to cameras, you should be careful. It's probably a trading company dealing with different kind of products, and we want to look at a real manufacturer. Now, but at this stage, I see that they're really specialized in cameras. This assortment is really comprised of cameras and outdoor gear. So yeah, again, looks good so far. Let's take a look at his address. The address here, if you notice, is in Hong Kong, which means it is different from the address that we saw here on Alibaba. I'm not worried at this point because manufacturers in China have a company in Hong Kong for tax reason and banking reasons. So again, I'm not very worried at this moment. Going back to Alibaba now, you can contact with the supplier, but first let's see what else we can find here. Let's take a look at the company overview. 51 to 100 people working there. Sales volume seems to be reasonable. They are based in Guangdong, China, which we said is the province that manufactures most of the electronic products. Let's see, they mentioned that they have the certificate. We will ask later for those certificates. Now, main areas are USA, Canada, Australia, Europe, and you can read through this. Maybe it gives you some information that could be valuable to you. They also have the supplier assessment report. I'm going to have a look at the preview here. It has been assessed by Bureau Veritas. They are a French company, very large third-party inspection company, very reputable. You can download it here. I'm not going to do that now. I already have a good feeling. Now let's see what else we can find here. Here you find his trade capacity, for which countries he works with. You can look at that also in detail. Sometimes they do mention here which customers they're working with. Their payment terms are quite okay. They apparently speak a couple of languages, not sure if that is correct. But anyway, what else do we have here? It seems really like a really good company. Also, you can take a look at the video. It's been verified also by the third-party inspection company. Yeah, let's take a look. Let's try to contact this supplier. Her name is JB. I could either call her now through Skype, but at first I want to email her. Now, what I'm going to do is I will take my supporting documents that you get when you sign up on importdojo.com. And in this case, I will use let's see where it is, the introduction to a supplier script. I'm just going to copy this here. You can get those scripts. Again, as I said, you can get the scripts when you download our ebook on the website. Going back to the website now, I'm just going to copy the whole script in here. And basically you want to ask for a price, MOQ, delivery time, and to which customer he's selling to. Obviously you also need to do a few routine checks on the factory. So certifications are available, but I want to have some certification. Please send them to me. Yeah, basically here's what it could look like. Now I'm gonna say, dear Chevy, and then I'm going to tell her who I am, and I'm the managing director of Mandarin Gear Limited, and I'm going to delete that. Then here I'm going to tell her who we are. I'm a sourcing company. We are a sourcing company and are operating in Hong Kong. Now in your case you can just fill in your country here. I'm also going to give her a link to my website so she will see that I'm serious. If you don't have a website, you can also give her just the link to maybe your online store or even your Amazon seller account. So I'm writing to you today to inquire about the product I saw on your website. Model number is, make sure you put down the model number because sometimes they get a lot of inquiries, so they don't know which item it is. Let's see, the model number here is G2. I'm going to put that in here, and I'm going to ask her for the unit price of 1, and then I'm also going to ask for 10 and 100 pieces. I want to have 3 different prices so that I can evaluate which order I will take. Then the regular minimum order quantity, but she mentioned 1, so it should be okay. I asked for the certification. I also want to check them, so I asked her to send it to me. Then the production lead time and the available colors. Then I tell her I would evaluate and get back to her as soon as possible. You should repeat this step with at least 3 to 5 suppliers that you found here on the first 2 or 3 sites, because you will want to have more selection options when you get the emails from the supplier. Now, after I've received her feedback, I'm probably going to ask her a few more questions because sometimes they miss some of my questions here. I'm probably going to ask also here. Now, I'm also probably going to ask here for a sample price because sometimes sample prices are a bit more expensive than if you order mass order quantity, because they have a little bit more work, it's true, but also they want to know if you're serious. So I'm going to ask for the sample price here. And once you receive the supplier's feedback, it's time to follow up with him. Yeah, that's about it. One more thing, if you don't want to go through this whole process here and also looking through the different suppliers here, what you can also do is you go back to the Alibaba homepage and then you look at AliSource Pro. Now AliSource Pro is rather new. I'm just going to click here. Now this tool works in such a way that you send out your request here, for example, camera, and then you can just also copy, where's the message? You could also just copy this message here and input in here. And I'm going to have to delete the model number, and you would have to describe here what you're looking for. Then you can tell them you need an estimate quantity of say 100 pieces. Then you can tell them when do you want to have your quotation at the latest. You can also email here. You can also input here your email. Now I'm going to just put in my email here, and then you just press on get quotes. I would not recommend you to share your business card because otherwise you get a lot of spam emails. One disadvantage about this AliSource Pro is that this email will be sent to a potential of hundreds of suppliers, and sometimes you really get non-relevant quotations, and that's just simple and plain annoying. If you have no time, if you want to try this service, you can check it out, but I really recommend you to go through the steps that we did here. Yeah, okay, I think that's about it. Now I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna send this email to the supplier, and I'm going to wait what he has to say. I will also repeat this step and process with at least 4 to 5 suppliers, so I have a selection of suppliers. All right, I hope you got a brief overview of how I source for some of my products, and if you have any questions, just simply shoot me an email, give me a call, or comment on one of my blogs. All right, take care, guys. One more thing, guys, before I let you go. I really recommend you, when you go sourcing, I really recommend you that you make yourself a shopping list. I call it shopping list. It's a simple Excel file. This is an example of what I did just recently for a garlic press. Now what I do is here, I input the pictures from the supplier. I input the name of the supplier, the details, and I also input what information I collect from the supplier, such as the MOQ, his price. I will later also calculate the logistics and the customs, if there's any sales tax or fulfillment by Amazon commission, and then I will copy a link here of the product and where I saw it, and yeah, you can calculate profits, and this may be a nice tool for you. You can either build a shopping list on your own or get it in our upcoming Import Dojo Masterclass course, besides many more tutorials like this and an even more in-depth sourcing video where I also call suppliers and talk to them. Hope you enjoyed this video and happy sourcing!